Welcome to How to Use Crowdfunding to Finance Your Small Business by Dr. Melissa Cohen. Module 3, Choosing Your Internet Platform. The objectives of this module are to look at the introduction to the main crowdfunding platforms, identify the main differences between the platforms, research any local platforms, and also let's examine and know the benefits and costs associated with each platform. So basically, what is an internet platform? So an internet platform is a website, and therefore it's a company that conducts the transactions for crowdfunding, which they take money from the funders for listing the projects. Now, by law, internet platforms for crowdfunding cannot sell any products to customers or own any interest in any business or pay sales commissions. So basically, your internet platform is going to be the website, and that could be like Kickstarter, that's Indiegogo, GoFundMe. Those are probably the most well-known crowdfunding campaigns. They are all registered as businesses, and they're registered to conduct crowdfunding campaigns. And so what they do is they actually list the projects on their websites. They do a little bit of marketing because they have their own newsletters and things like that. So they can promote products and promote businesses because obviously they get a transaction fee. So when a potential funder makes a donation or funds a project, they get a cut of that deal. So they definitely want to promote their company, their business, or crowdfunding campaigns because they want people to come to them and actually fund projects. So, and then going into the by law, where they're not allowed to sell any of their products to their customers or own any interest in another business or pay sales commissions. That's because they have to stay as a third party, which basically means they cannot necessarily promote somebody. They can promote everybody in general and promote their business in general, but they can't push a specific product on customers, or they can't pay their employees sales commissions to push certain products on customers. Basically, they want to make sure there's no conflict of interest and that everybody has an equal opportunity to invest in whatever products that they deem necessary. So some of the popular internet platforms, as I've just mentioned, Kickstarter and Indiegogo are the most popular crowdfunding platforms. They're a little bit more generalized as far as the types of projects they accept and as far as already creating a market share in the globe, definitely in the US and globally as well. So both of these companies, they're project based, meaning that the person or business is asking for a certain item to be funded within a definite end time. So the start date, end date, and then there are certain categories of projects that they allow. So an example here includes paying for production costs if you're a musical artist and you want to get a music CD made. If you are a restaurant owner, or even if you are you bake, you have a home bakery, and you want to buy a second oven so that the bakery can expand, you can create more product to sell. So you need money for an oven. You can crowdfund that. Or basically any type of paying for production costs for a product. So if you have a great idea for a new product, you went to a manufacturer, they said, great, we can make it, we need $20,000 up front. And you're sitting there going, I don't have $20,000 up front. You can crowdfund that by basically pre-selling the item. Now, just to also let you know, there are literally 1,000 other internet platforms. They are all registered with, I think it's the SEC, but they are registered as a business to conduct crowdfunding. So, I just wanted to let you know that there are more that are out there, and depending on where you live in the United States, one internet platform just may be more prevalent than others. So some of these include AngelList, there's Circle Up, and Micro Ventures. Now these 3 internet platforms are from investors only. So those are people who are basically wanting to invest in your company. Now as I mentioned before, there may be local platforms that are geographically based that may be just as popular or more popular than Kickstarter and Indiegogo that you may be able to leverage to your advantage. So I definitely don't want to push these two global ones. If you have a local platform in your area that most people are already familiar with, whether there's already been some local campaigns that have gotten a lot of money put into them, or that local platform has also created a lot of marketing and buzz, and they've got a long email list and people already know them. So definitely I don't want to exclude them, and if it's to your advantage to use a local platform, by all means do so. So how do you know if there's any local platforms in your area? Well, first of all, you can Google it. You can also contact several small business groups in your area. So you can call the Chamber of Commerce. If there's a local entrepreneur center, there's also maybe a small business development center. Sometimes that works in conjunction with either some local government or even some local universities. There's also the Small Business Administration, which is a government entity, but they do try to get out in the community. So there's usually some community-based centers basically in the bigger cities in your state. And also don't underestimate, contact the local university if there's an entrepreneurship program or any professors that teach entrepreneurship. They're a great resource as well to help you find the resources that you need. And also they may already know about these local platforms and other crowdfunding options in your area. So an example of a local platform that has popped up in the last year or so is I Fund Women. Now this, I have no relationship with them except for I am aware because they have come to the greater Nashville area, and so they generated a lot of publicity. And so what's very unique about them is they are a platform, it's focused on women-owned small businesses. So it's only available in certain cities, but they are growing to more cities each year. So they kind of do a launch in a big city so that people become aware of them, and they kind of garner a lot of attention there. They offer support to women and small business owners, and they accept applications for projects only. So there is a narrow definition of what they accept. Some of the benefits, though, of this company that I've seen is they will reinvest some of their profits back into the small businesses that they like. So they'll choose a couple of small businesses every month, and they'll go ahead and make sure that they're fully funded. So that's a great benefit as well that I Fund Women does, that the larger Kickstarter and Indiegogo does not do, to my knowledge. So let's go ahead and just do a side-by-side comparison. Well, why would I use Kickstarter versus Indiegogo? Still don't really understand everything. Well, let's look at side-by-side here. So Kickstarter has had, and this is as of December 2017, $3.4 billion have been pledged to projects. They have had over 136,000 successfully funded projects, which basically mean they've hit their goal. Each project has hit their goal. Kickstarter also brings 14 plus million backers or funders. So 14 plus million people have come to their website to give money. And of that, if you want to look at, well, what does that mean? Do people give more than money to more than one campaign? And the answer is yes, because they've had 42 plus million total pledges. So you can see there are people who go back multiple times and find projects that are just specifically looking for projects and new products that they want to fund. Now on the right side of the screen, we're going to look at Indiegogo. So they're a little bit smaller. They have, and this is taken from their website, the most recent information I could find was dated from 2015. So they have raised over $800 million raised. They have funded 2.5 million people from 226 countries have contributed. Now to over 175,000 campaigns. So it does look like from a number standpoint, even though there's 2 years difference, that more people have gone on to Indiegogo to create campaigns. So let's look at what are some of the similarities of Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So both platforms are project-based. So basically that means you have to raise money for a certain item or cause, and it cannot be an ongoing item. So you can't say, I need to pay rent. I need money every month to pay rent, right? That doesn't work. So while these sites are open to many small business ideas, there are certain restrictions, so you do need to research that as well. They do offer projects by categories. So if you're technology, if you're music, if you're, there's probably about 15 to 20 different categories. They also, one interesting thing is if you are interested as a funder and you want to look at projects to fund, they offer filters. So as a funder, I can go in and I can find, I've got different filters. I can go in, I can look in my city and see what projects are there. I can go in by the category and see what I want to fund. I can also look at any new projects that are developed that have just been listed. And also I can sort by expiring soon projects. So if it's a project that I think I may want to invest in, but I wanted to see how is it doing? Like, did it raise money? How close is it to the end of their project? So these are just some of the filters, but these are the most popular filters as well. Both of these companies do offer some sort of resources to help with projects. So whether it's a tip list, it's little videos on how to shoot the perfect video, or here's some vendors that we recommend. There are some resources to help you with your projects. Because once again, like, they want you to be successful because then they're successful. If you can get people to come to your website or to their website for your project and give them money and raise money, then they get a cut of that. So, if you're successful, they're successful. There's also a potential for spotlight in their newsletter or web page. So they do a little bit of marketing, as I mentioned. They do reach out to people, customers, and potential funders can create an account and subscribe to their newsletter or their web page. And the Kickstarter and Indiegogo definitely sends out, here's the latest projects. Here's some projects you may be interested. This is what we like, and here's some staff picks, things like that. And they also offer personalized newsletters to subscribers. So once again, if I'm just a potential funder, I can go in and create an account, and I can choose the projects that I'm listed in, that I'm interested in. So if I'm only interested in projects in my city, I can check that box and they'll send me those types of projects. Or if I'm only interested in certain categories, I want to hear all the new music that's coming out, and I want to know about the new musical artists and see if it's anything I'm interested in. I can do the filter by that as well. And also, I just want to throw in here real quickly here, why does this make a difference, right? You're doing a crowdfunding campaign. Why do you need to know all the filters? Well, you need to know all the filters because, first of all, you're going to do some research in your own area and business and such. And you also need to start thinking of your potential funder. So anytime you have something to sell to somebody, you have to be able to say, well, who is that person? Who is my target market? And how are they going to find me? And how are they going to get to my company? So you do have to you have to put yourself in their shoes as well. Okay, so here's the numbers and here's the fees, and this is where we come to. So let's look at the Kickstarter versus the Indiegogo fees. Now they have two different structures here. So it does make a difference on which one you choose. So Kickstarter, let's first of all start with them. They do what we call all or nothing transactions. So what does that mean? That basically means if the funding is unsuccessful, there's no fees. Funders are not charged anything, the small businesses are not charged anything, and the small businesses receive no money. So why is this important? First of all, I put that out there because if you have a target goal that's too high and that you can't reach, you're not going to get any money from Kickstarter. So that's pretty simple there. So Later in the modules, we'll talk about setting rewards levels and your target goal. That's why it's very important if you use Kickstarter to set an appropriate target goal. Now, I don't want that to scare you away from Kickstarter, because they're the largest crowdfunding platform in the world. So that's a very big deal just in that sense. But it's also very important for you to create the appropriate reward levels and the appropriate target goal, because you don't want to do all that work and not get anything at the end of the day. So another bullet point here with Kickstarter is their projects last roughly 30 days. So you know for 30 days you have an intensive of trying to raise all the money you can, and to do all this work before you actually launch and start your campaign. Now, the Kickstarter actual fees. So within the United States, Kickstarter retains a 5% fee from the total amount. So say you're asking for $10,000, they're going to take right off the top 5% of that, and it's going to go back to Kickstarter. Right? So when you go to do your budget and you need $10,000 to mail to the warehouse company so they'll start making your projects, you're already going to be 5% short, because Kickstarter is going to take 5%. So once again, I'm just letting you know this because it's going to be very important for you to do your budget correctly as well. And in addition, Kickstarter is going to charge your funder. The 5% fee is what they're going to charge you as a small business owner and the person listing the project. Kickstarter also charges the contributors, which are the funders, a payment processing fee between 3 and 5%. So basically it's a credit card transaction fee type thing. You want to think of it like that. So if your grandma says, okay, I'll do this, I'll give you $25. Well, when she goes and runs her credit card through, and it's like $25 plus a processing fee. So it's going to be more than $25. So I just say that just so that you're aware. If you do, talk to your friends or anything like that, relatives, and they don't fully understand, then you need to let them know. If their budget is only $25, then they need to contribute $20 and then know that there's a couple dollars worth of fees added to that. And also, if you're located in another country, there's a whole list of fees on their website. It's just obviously too much information to list here. Now, that's Kickstarter. So let's look over on the right side of our screen and we'll look at Indiegogo. So Indiegogo, their model is, they have two models. They offer an all or nothing campaign, which is what Kickstarter is, or they also offer a keep it all campaign, and it's called flexible. So the all or nothing campaign is the same idea as Kickstarter. So there are fixed amounts that you ask for, and if they're not met, like say you ask for $10,000 and you only get $8,000 worth of funding and contributors, so all the backers, their money is refunded within 5 business days from your campaign end date. So when it's officially, that time is clicking down, the clock is clicking down, and then it says, sorry, you didn't meet your goal, all the funders are going to get their money back. And then with a keep it all campaign, basically you can say, I have a goal of $10,000, but if I only get $9,000, I'm going to keep it all. And there is a little difference in the fees. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So, also to note with Indiegogo, you can decide how long you want your project to run, up to 60-day maximum. So if you're asking for $50,000, you live in a small town, it's going to be hard for you to do a lot of marketing and to get that money in 30 days, but you think you can do it in 60 days, Indiegogo may be a better option for you. Now, let's look at the actual fees for Indiegogo. So the Keep It All campaign, which basically means you keep all the money you raise, whether or not you hit your target goal. The fees are going to be 5% if the goal is met. So that's 5% they're going to take off the top of your total amount as a small business owner. Now, if the goal is not met, they're going to bump that up. They're going to take 7% of your total amount. So it is 2% difference, and it may not seem like a lot, but it may be a lot. Now, going to the Indiegogo all or nothing fees, they're going to take 5% if the target goal is met, and no money if the goal is not met. Then you receive nothing, they receive nothing, and any funders are not being charged anything. So that's where it's similar with Kickstarter. Now, also, just to move down to the next to last bullet point for Indiegogo, is that they do charge contributors a processing fee of 3% plus a 30-cent per transaction fee. So basically, once again, it's just like Kickstarter, where if someone says, well, I have $25 to spend, know that it's going to be $25 plus a couple dollars worth of transaction fees. And also with Indiegogo, they have a full list of fees for other countries on their website as well. So when you're looking at which platform to use, there's different factors. So I'm just putting this out there. So whether you choose, and you're going to look at Kickstarter, you're going to use an Indiegogo, you're going to use any other platform out there, any other local platform, something else that may help you. You know, what do you need to be looking for? Where do you need to find and research information? The first one are the fees. Obviously, you want to know how much you're going to be charged. You want to know how much your funders are going to be charged. The second one is marketing. Do they offer any additional marketing services? Do they send out newsletters? Do they send out recommendations for companies? Are they constantly in contact with their funders and they're just the whole general population that has been interested in Kickstarter? Also look at what is the time period to reach the goal. Is it just strictly 30 days like Kickstarter, or is it like Indiegogo where you can request up to 60 days? You need to also look at what are the support and resources. So do they offer webinars? Do they offer any FAQs, a list of questions with answers? Do they have recommended vendors? Do they have any best practices to increase your chances of being funded? So what's available there? You also want to look at, for number 5, what are the cost of additional services? So say you want to have a professional video created. So what is that going to cost? And do they offer it? And what is that going to cost you to do that? That typically seems to be one. There's also writing your project description if you need help with that. You know, usually you can find, they may offer and recommend vendors as well. And number 6, the popularity for your type of project. So you don't want to shy away. You can't think of, you know, if you go to the musical artists, you know, is there all this competition out there? You can't think of it as a, you know, competition, but you know what? If this is the community, the online community where people are investing and looking for new artists through Kickstarter, maybe I need to be in that community. I'm not going to compete with it. I'm going to help grow it. So definitely be aware of that as well. So now that brings us to our action items. So that we've covered a lot of information. And so what I'm going to do is actually put it in use here. So I want you to spend 15 minutes to maybe even an hour just simply going through and browsing through Kickstarter. I want you to go through Indiegogo, and if there are any other local crowdfunding platforms that you are interested in. So I want you to just look through them, browse them, go to the home page. What do everybody see? What does anybody see? What's that first visual that they see when they get to that home page? I want you to go in there and look at similar category projects as yours. So if you are doing a music CD, go in there, filter music CDs. I want to, if you are in a certain geographic area, go in and do a filter by just your geographic area, whether it's a large city, whether it's a state, and see what projects are there. I want you to look at the successful projects for your category. Okay, I want you to take note. Look at how much money did they ask for. Was it $1,000? Was it $50,000, right? You want to look at where those successful projects, what they asked for. Then you also want to look at how much money did they actually raise. Just because you asked for $8,000, they might have gotten $50,000. They might have only gotten $12,000. So look at what that difference is. I also want you to look at the rewards. Like what type of rewards are they offering? You know, are there some creative rewards? Do you get to meet the artist? Do you get a ticket to a future concert? You know, what type of rewards are they offering, and what are the levels? You know, for $20 you get the CD, or is it $30 you get the CD, or is it $10 you get the CD? You know, that makes a little bit of a difference, because your funder may think it's valuable, but they also don't want to buy it for cheap either. You know, people, believe it or not, some people like to do the Walmart effect, and they are looking at price based only. But then some people are also, I want to call it the your luxury brands, your Louis Vuitton, your Nordstrom, any luxury brands where people are willing to pay more for better quality. Okay, so I want you to take note of all of these. Go ahead and actually write down notes. So if you are seeing a pattern where, you know, $20, $40, $50 are kind of seem to be the most contributions for these successful projects, I want you to put that in there. If you see a lot of people want t-shirts, if that's the reward level, besides the music CD, if, you know, number 2 is t-shirts, if nobody's buying the bumper sticker category, then don't take a note of that. Say no bumper stickers. You know, so just go through and look at what other people are doing, and it's okay to kind of copy what they're doing. Now, I wouldn't say go in and actually copy verbatim somebody else's project, because, you know, that's kind of faux pas in bad form. So definitely don't do that. Now, then I want you to decide which platform works for you. So which one do you think you want to do? And then also just go ahead and open an account and go ahead and get started. You don't have to fill out everything right now. You can go ahead and get an email account set up. You can go ahead and maybe even start getting a project set up, as far as filling out some basic information about your company name and that sort of thing. So this is the end of Module 3, choosing your internet platform. So basically, choose your internet platform and just get started. Thank you.